Hello and thank you for joining us. President Trump escalated his fight with Harvard University Tuesday, announcing the cancellation of the remaining federal contracts with the Ivy League school worth an estimated $100 million. The university is already in a legal fight with the administration as it tries to restore more than $3 billion in federal funding and attempts to block the administration's efforts to prevent them from enrolling international students. Also on Tuesday, Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced the COVID-19 vaccine is being removed from the list of recommended shots for healthy pregnant women and children. The decision could make it harder for those people to get their shots if insurance companies decide to no longer cover them. And a brand new report found that consumer confidence in May was much stronger than expected. The key drivers coming from developments in trade talks with China, including the president's decision to halt a new round of tariffs earlier this month. We have team coverage on these stories. White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi is following the Harvard-Trump administration developments. Digital reporter Alex Tin is covering the new COVID vaccine recommendations, and Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady is covering the economy. So first, let's go over to Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, why is the White House pulling this funding from Harvard?
Well, Lindsay, the White House says that they're directing these federal agencies to review those remaining contracts with Harvard that total about $100 million because they are aggravated with the response they've gotten from Harvard thus far on a multitude of issues. There's the one issue about anti-Semitism on their campus. We know that the White House has said they are looking to revoke the visas of students who have participated in those protests, either on campus or off campus. Later on, though, we know that the White House, specifically the Department of Homeland Security, asked Harvard to give them a list of students or background information on any students who participated in these protests. We know that Harvard did not hand over any information about these students, and as a result, we have seen a ratcheting up of attacks against them, specifically within the last week and a half. Last week, we know that the Department of Homeland Security revoked Harvard's ability to give international visas to their students to enroll them in those programs. But we also know that they have continually canceled grants to the university, and this is just the latest in that fight. This comes on top of $2.2 billion in federal funding that this administration has held from Harvard. So it appears that this fight is going to continue between between the Trump administration and Harvard, as long as they're not willing to capitulate in any way that this administration is asking them to.
And the administration has also paused student visa appointments for international students. This isn't just Harvard. This is all international students, right? What does this mean?
Yeah, this is a big development. This just happened. We know that Secretary of State Marco Rubio sent out this notice to all embassies saying that no more appointments can be made for any students who are seeking a visa to come to the U.S. to enroll in our universities here until they figure out a expanded vetting process of these students. So they're temporarily stopping scheduling all new appointments for these students. But as you know, Lindsay, that college deadline date just passed earlier in May, where students had to let colleges know whether or not they'd be attending. Now is typically the part where they go and obtain visas. It takes about 2 months. They go to their local embassy. They have an interview process. They get vetted. They get the visa. They're able to come to the United States. Usually this stuff is all happening in tandem, but now that puts everything into question, not only for Harvard, as you mentioned, but all colleges. And beyond just that, international students pay often more tuition at these colleges. So it calls into question a lot of the funding that these universities around the country will be able to get now, because they won't be having the steady income of international student tuition. So there's a lot of ramifications with this. I think this story we're going to be talking about for at least the next couple of weeks, if not the next couple of months, as the White House is looking to really pause any international students coming to the United States, at least for the next foreseeable school year.
And before we let you go, the White House is threatening to block federal funding to California unless the state takes steps to prevent a transgender student from competing in the state's girls' track and field finals. What's going on here?
Yeah, we know over the weekend there was a transgender student who participated in the track and field finals in California. And as a result, it caught Trump's attention. He issued a Truth Social this morning threatening to suspend all federal funding to California if they do not stop this particular particular student and other transgender students from competing in women's sports. This was quite the threat that Trump made today. We do know that he went on to say in that Truth Social that he expects to have a conversation with Governor Newsom. We have asked Governor Newsom whether or not that has happened. We have not gotten clarity from either side whether or not they spoke today specifically on this issue, but Gavin Newsom's office did pass along some details about how many students there are that are actually transgender in the school system in California. Just to put this into perspective, there are about 5.8 million students in the California public school system between K through 12 education, and they estimate just a handful of them identify as transgender. So a very small number of students we are talking about here, but nonetheless, the Trump administration is still threatening to withhold that funding from California.
Okay, Olivia Rinaldi, thank you.